our esteemed speaker. Uh, she has been with Vinati Organics since 2006 and is passionate about clean and green chemistry. She is a dual degree graduate from the University of Pennsylvania in engineering and finance. She was chosen as the Outstanding Women Business Leader by Economic Times Family Business Awards. She is named in the World Economic Forum's Young Global Leaders list and was also listed India's top 40 under 40 by Economic Times. She was featured in Forbes Asia's Power Business Women list and was chosen as a Business Leader of the Year at the ET Prime Women Leadership Awards. She is on the board of Course 5 Intelligence and serves as a trustee for Make a Wish Foundation. A huge welcome to you, Vinati, on our forum. We're really extremely happy to have you here with us. I'd like to invite our Bombay chapter president, Nidhi Kanoy, to take over and have a fireside chat with you. Thank you, Nidhi.
Thanks, Vinti. It's really lovely having you here. So maybe, I don't know if you want to just tell us a little bit about your journey with Vinti Organics and just how you started back in 2006 when women were not really, taking over companies and heading stuff like that.
Sure. I think that's a good way to start. So actually, the company was started by my father in 1990, around 1991. I was about 6 or 7 years old then, and we are two sisters. I have a younger sister as well. And before that, my father was working at Aditya Birla, heading chemical projects, heading Mangalore refinery. So, anyways, he started this company. So, we sort of grew up with the company, and visiting the factory was like a weekend outing. The factory is
Right.
4 hours out of Mumbai. When I was a teenager, and my father has no chemistry background, and our products are the forte of our company is niche chemicals, specialty chemicals, and not commodity chemicals or processes which are easily available.
Mm-hmm.
So he was very eager to understand chemistry, and he would ask me questions from my textbook, or about the periodic table or simple things, and that is how even my interest in chemistry grew or started. And when I wanted to go for college, I first thought I would do chemical engineering. I went to Penn, and there I realized the business school is also quite good, and I transferred, and so I ended up doing a dual degree in engineering and business, because
That's amazing.
I sort of knew that I would come back and work with him, or at least it was on my mind
Right.
that that's an option. I did work briefly in New York for a consulting firm, but I didn't enjoy it, to be honest, very much, because I knew that the business back home was at a cusp, that a lot could be done back home with it. I had worked for 3 months in the summer, and that's when we had invested in a second factory actually in
Okay.
2002, 2003. And that was sort of the draw for coming back and joining the business.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I met, there are many things that happen, that lead to it. It's a chain.
Absolutely.
It's
Yes.
always a chain of events. I met my husband also at Penn, and he was working for a hedge fund then, and he all I told him, I think I want to move back. I don't want to settle in America. I want to join my father's business, give it a shot. And even back then, the finance industry, this was pre 2008, so
Correct.
a lot of funds were also setting up offices in India, and India was looking very exciting even in that industry. So he said, even I can give it a shot. We can move back together, get married. And he took up a job with D. Shaw in Gurgaon first and Mumbai. So all that fell into place. And
Right.
that is how I moved back in 2006. I mean, obviously, when I joined, I did not take over the business. That
Yes.
will not happen. That is not correct. Should not, right? My father he had many years of
Very
experience.
nice. यहाँ सब अच्छे से हो गया बहुत बहुत बहुत
Please keep
अच्छे से हो
yourselves
गया
on mute.
Yeah, so when my father had 20 years of experience before Vinati Organics,
Mhm.
and another 15 years with it, for 35 years. So I couldn't take over from him. It was more about learning in the
Correct.
initial years, shadowing him around, even learning from the other seniors in the company. in
Yes.
each department spending time, whether it is finance, whether it is procurement, sales was very important, even the going to the factory, and so understanding the technicalities. And I think my engineering degree also helped. I feel it was a very good balance that I had, understanding technical as well as business, and that sort of kept me interested in the business.
Right. That's amazing. We'll take a few questions and then I have a couple of questions also for you. We'll start with Shweta Sachdev, please.
Hi, Vinati. Your father, Mr. Vinod Saraf, is an inspiration. At
Right.
just 17, he was a topper. And
Hmm.
at 19, he earned an MBA gold medal. Despite having a successful career, he boldly left his high profile job at 40 and started his own company. His journey has taught you numerous valuable life lessons. We would like you to share with us the ones you value the most today.
I think you're absolutely right. My father is there would be my model, and those are hard shoes to fit. But I think couple of things I've learned from him is one, he's very passionate about his work, and this interest in chemistry, always reading magazines and keeping himself up to date with new products, new processes, what is going on in the industry. That's very important as an entrepreneur, and when you want to grow your business, especially that knowledge, that domain knowledge or sector. And you don't have to, he didn't study it. Like you said, he was a BCom plus MBA, but he developed it and nurtured it over time. And the second biggest thing that I've learned from him is humility and simplicity. He grew up in Fatehpur, and then he worked 20 years for different companies, the Bilwara Group, Aditya Birla Group, Modern Group, and then joined. And he has no airs about his success. Uh, he treats everyone in office like equally, and his lifestyle is very simple. And I think when you have that humility and simplicity, you're able to make better decisions. Money doesn't mar your decisions. You look at things more objectively and more like a professional would. What's the return on investment, and it's not your ego that is driving you to take those decisions.
That's great. Thank you so much.
Very, very well said, Vinti. Can we have Garima, please?
Hi, Vinti. What has been your biggest challenge in scaling Vinati Organics within a male-dominated sector, and how did you overcome it?
So, what I realized, at least in a manufacturing industry, if you are thorough with your work, your knowledge, product knowledge, then actually, whether it is a male or female across the table, it does not matter.
Yeah.
It really comes down to your product quality, your pricing, your
Hmm.
you, if your product is good, your service is good, you're selling at a cheaper price, they really don't care whether the woman is a CEO or a man. And then it's the same with colleagues also. It's what I, at least early on, I used to always feel that I have to over prepare before any meeting, because I know they will be questioning me the most, whether it is a board of directors or whether it is a potential customer meeting, just to test me. And I used to do that, and that helped. Thankfully, now I don't have to anymore, because I've been around for almost 20 years. So and when you go abroad, we export about 60% of our revenues. We sell to other MNC chemical companies, and I find a lot of women there.
Yes.
So it's not a difficult industry for women as such.
Okay. Thank you so much, Vinti.
Can we have Swati Chaudhary next?
Good afternoon. Vindy, I want to ask, you had said that in a family business, you should disagree in private and communicate your points to determine who is right and wrong. Please, could you elaborate this point?
Yeah, of course. Now luckily in our business, it's only me and my father who are working hands on. But in a lot of other businesses, there are 4 5 people. There could be siblings, there are cousins, spouses. And I feel as a family, of course, we are each is a different individual, and we have different opinions about how things should be done or what businesses we should invest in. And you can have that discussion separately, not necessarily in front of everyone all the time. Of course, there are some decisions you have to discuss with the board, with your senior employees, but some you can have in private as well. And what I mean is that line of communication has to be open all the time, and it's very hard to give feedback to a parent or to a child, to your own child, to your own son or daughter, to your spouse. But if that culture is there from the beginning, that, I think this could have been done differently, or I would have done this differently, or maybe you can see the result. And if you can have that open discussion at times, that really helps as well.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
Can we have Rohini Jain?
Yeah. Hi, Vinati. Vinati, in a podcast, you had mentioned that in a B2B business with specialty products, you can't grow beyond a particular market share. So, adding capacity and diversification becomes the key. So, how do we see this sector in terms of diversification?
No, you're absolutely right. Like I mentioned earlier, our strategy has been to enter into niche chemicals. Like the chemical we started with, isobutyl benzene, it has only one application. It is used in ibuprofen, the painkiller. But our strategy was to become the largest in that in the world. We displaced the American manufacturer, the Chinese manufacturer, the UK manufacturer. We exported. Today, we have 60% global market share. And then we realized now we cannot grow beyond this in this product. So
Yeah.
we invested in another product called ATBS, which today is our largest product. Remember, I mentioned the second factory we started in 2002. Again, that had a very small market in India, and we started with a 1,000 tons per annum capacity. Today, we are at 40,000, expanding to 50,000 tons per annum.
Wow.
And again, we have about 60% market share, and we are the world leaders. And then again, now we cannot expand beyond that, right? So then we started a third product, IB, in 2010, 2011, which also is a raw material for ATVs, but we also supply it to other agrochemical manufacturers. And it was the first IB plant in India. And because of our plan, the imports to India were stopped, and we were able to cater to the Indian market in the agro space. And then again, now IB is a gas, so you can't export it easily. So then we got into a fourth line of products, which were derivatives of IB called butyl phenols. Again, the first plant in India, but again, limited market potential. It is used in fragrance industry, some are used in plastic industry, and from that we are further adding value added products called antioxidants, which are used as additives in plastics and lubricants. So
Okay.
that has been the strategy so far.
Oh, great. Thank you so much.
Vinti, in fact, my question was regarding ATBS and IB. You became a leader. So how did you manage to, how did the company manage, or I know you played a substantial role as well, to become like the leader in this category? How did you all achieve this?
See, I think, of course, it starts with process efficiency. That is very important in a manufacturing business. IBB, I remember we started with a 1,200 ton capacity, and almost with very little in further investment, we were able to expand it to 6,000 tons. We started making our own catalyst, which other manufacturers weren't doing that. We started recovering byproducts from the waste stream, which again the other guys were sort of, it was going in their waste stream. So that made us cost competitive.
So a lot
And
of
that's
innovation,
a lot
basically.
of innovation in process innovation,
Right.
and that led us to leadership. In IBB, we were able to get export contracts in US, in China, and today they rely almost 80% of or 90% of their supply comes from us. And the same story happened. We were able to replicate in ATBS.
Right.
So
That's great. Can we have Meghna?
Yes. Vinati, with 65% of your business being exports, now with Trump's win, which is expected to further strengthen the China Plus One strategy. Is this going to be a major tailwind for your company? Do you see it like that?
Yeah, actually, this China Plus strategy has helped Indian chemical industry in the last 8 years or so. You know, if you observe, Trump first came out with the tariff when he was president 5 years back, and Indian chemical industry suddenly started doing very well. It used to be a very sleepy industry before that, and suddenly during COVID, coupled with the fact that China was closed, it became the stock market favorite also for a period, you know, during 2020, 21, 22. And a lot of companies sort of overstocked Indian products, and now 23 was, of course, not as good as 22, but on the whole, this has benefited us because companies in Europe and US are looking for alternative suppliers other than China. And you'll see a lot of chemical companies have in India have paid off their debt and are doing a lot more investments. Uh, European industry has also not been doing too well because of increased costs and due to the war and all of that. And people are looking at India in this sector for the next 10 years.
Thank you.
That's great. Shraddha, please. She's a Kolkata president, Shraddha Podar.
Hi, Vidhi. Really nice to hear your inspirations and your life journey till now. I just have a little different question to ask. If you had a magic molecule that could solve one of your biggest challenges in the specialty chemical industry, what would it target and how would it work?
Magic molecule in the specialty chemicals. I guess it would be something to do with the effluents, no? Like if I could just put that one molecule and all the effluents vanish, then your environment is taken care of, everybody is taken care of, and you can go ahead with your production and sales and all of that.
So you think that's the basic major challenge in the industry?
It is what that mars our industry, right? Like people think of chemical industry as a very polluting industry, but the fact being that it's a very essential basic you need it. Everything today you use comes
Right.
from chemicals, right? Like it's a very very basic industry, and that's the problem with it.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Shweta Singhal, can you come in next?
Yeah, thank you. Hi, Vinati. Though you just mentioned that you all are doing backward integration even and the process innovation. My question is more about like, is your company dependent on China for its raw material?
Thankfully, none of our major raw materials come from China. And honestly, it is not by design. It is just the products that we entered always had a local supplier. We import also from USA sometimes, sometimes from Taiwan, but Thailand, Korea. But surprisingly, we don't have imports from China. In fact, we export to China. IBB as well as some ATBS. Of course, we face competition from China in my newer products, the butyl phenols. I see a lot of cheap Chinese products coming into the country, but at least we are not dependent on them for inputs.
Thank you.
Vinti, when China's come in, I was just reading an article where I think Vinti Organics has approached the DGTR, it says, for initiation of anti-dumping for some antioxidants. So is this process easy? How does it, like, how do you go about identifying and
Sure. So
how does it?
in fact, that is the latest product stream that I spoke about. That is our newest plant, which actually we started 3 years back.
Mhm.
And of late, since the last 2 years, there's been a lot of dumping happening from China. That the reason we got into antioxidants is because that's actually for import substitution. There's a good demand in India
Okay.
of 20,000 tons. My plant is 24,000 tons, 1,000 tons, and globally it's a over 1 lakh ton product. again, there's a small plant in India which makes 5,000 tons. So I can't say we are the first plant, but we are certainly the second and the largest. And the reason we got into this is because the main input for antioxidants is the butyl phenols, which
Okay.
is a plant we started 5 years back.
Mhm.
And we started butyl phenols because we had isobutylene. So you see, we are doubly backward integrated in antioxidants. In spite of that, China has been selling that product quite cheap in India, and I think it's a combination of demand being low in
China.
Europe and
Oh,
China
yeah. Okay.
both, plus the 25% Trump tariff in the US.
Right.
So all that has led to dumping in India, and that is why we have approached the DGTR to at least give us some relief,
Okay.
initially.
Right. Thank you. Avina, can we have you ask your question, please?
Yeah, thank you, Nidhi. Hi, Viniti. As you have said, it's an ever-changing environment that we are a part of given volatilities, and we have to be quick to change. So, could you share your one experience where you were very quick to accept and quick to change?
Yeah, there are many instances. There was a project called PAP, which is like how IBB is the raw material for ibuprofen. PAP is the input for paracetamol. And we were very keen on making it in India with a new process, a novel process, which was a green and clean chemistry. And we spent 5 years on trials. We even set up a pilot plant, but our process just did not give us the yields or the numbers that we were looking for, and we had to let go of it. Like that, we have let go of other products also. Thankfully, they've been smaller products, DAM and a few others. So you have to be very, and you can make out, you can tell in, I would say, six months to 1 year whether this was a right decision or no. And if you can change, and if you can use those same equipments, that same plant to make something else, you must, like the antioxidants, for example. Even though I'm facing a lot of competition from China, I know in the long run this is a good space to be in. The demand is growing, the segment is growing, we are well positioned with our integration, and we can get into new AOs also with these base AOs, and hence we are pursuing that.
Okay, okay. Thank you, Viniti.
We'll have Arshia, please. Come in, Arshia.
Hi, Vinti. I am so sorry. I would like to apologize for the introduction, which just went froze. Such are the cons of technology, I would say. Anyway, coming back to my question is, with potential market disruptors such as advancement in biotechnology, alternative synthesis processes, and increasing environmental regulation, how is Vinti Organic positioning itself to address these challenges?
See, it's very important to address all of these. They call it EHS, or there are many words these days for it, and we we like to keep ourselves very ahead in this regard when it comes to it. Environment friendly processes, carbon emission. EcoVadis is a firm that rates chemical companies or suppliers, some 5,000 suppliers globally, and they just gave us a gold rating last year, which is given to only top 2%. And they come and they evaluate your companies on all these health, safety, corporate governance, environment, and all of these factors. And so, like small things like zero effluent, ZLD, zero liquid discharge, minimizing effluents, making value added products from the waste stream. In fact, we've set up our own solar power plants. So today, 50% of our power requirements comes from solar energy, which is produced by us in house. So we've made about, I want to say, an investment of 70 crores or 100 crores just in solar power itself. So these are some steps that we have taken in that direction.
Great.
Thank you so much.
So I'll ask you a question on behalf of one of our members who's not here. She can't attend. So how did you leverage innovation and sustainability to navigate the challenges that you faced in the growth of Vinti Organics and hence drove the company forward?
Yeah, we spoke about this
Yes.
earlier.
Yes.
Process innovation has been a key driver for us, and that is what has helped us stay ahead of competition keep optimizing our process and being able to supply our product at the best price. Because eventually what happens, you start with a specialty, you have to keep cutting down your costs, you have to keep improving, getting efficient, getting more efficient and getting economies of scale. And so we also work a lot with Indian R&D institutes. We fund a lot of research, whether it is National Chemical Labs in Pune, ICT, which used to be Udacity in Mumbai, IICT in Hyderabad. And that is how, in fact, ATBS came to us.
Okay.
We were probably working on some other product that time with NCL, and they had developed the process to make ATBS, and so we licensed the technology from them. Even the butyl phenols has been developed by an Indian lab, an Indian institute
Okay.
based out of Pune. So,
Very nice. Shweta, Sachdev, can you come and ask Arpita's question as well?
Yeah, hi. So basically, we are one of the largest organizations in India empowering women through financial literacy. So, as a woman, Vinati, what advice do you have for us in terms of balancing our professional and personal lives? Would love to hear it from you.
I think I think in today's it's become much easier today than it was even 10 years back, and I think technology has played a big role in that, having flexi hours, flexi time, the ability to work from home, like how all of you are joining today. And I could have very well taken this, done this interview from home, and that's absolutely fine, because today, and there's also a flip side to it, right? Because of email and everything, you're on the clock, you're expected to reply to messages through WhatsApp. I constantly have people messaging me, should I place this order, should I do this, should I renegotiate this, and you're expected to reply. So technology, children not so young anymore, also, we don't have to really go about buying groceries anymore, everything is delivered at home. So life has become easier in that sense, and at least my advice is, there is no reason anymore not to work, or anything. Whatever you're passionate about, even if it is an NGO, if it's any it's jewelry, it's fashion designing, anything. I don't think you can justify not doing anything today, given that everything has become so much easier. That's my view.
Okay, thank you. So basically, just turn up and do things, just without.
Exactly. And children are busy with their own. At least my children, they leave for school at 7:30. They come sometimes at 4, 5. Then they're busy with classes. So really, what do you do? So just show up and stick to it. Stick to what you're doing. Don't give up in the first 1 year or 2 years, because it takes time to establish yourself in any space, and that
Yeah,
sticking to it is
very.
also very important.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Rashmi, you can go ahead with your question. I'll call upon Preeti Maruti next.
Hi, Viniti. It's a real pleasure and amazing to hear from you. So, my question was that where do you see Vinati and Vinati Organics 10 or 20 years from now?
See, I have a very simple, my father rather has a very simple philosophy that every year you should grow 15 to 20%, in terms of volumes, whether it is through new products or existing products, because your costs are going to keep growing, right? Inflation happens, employee costs keep increasing. And so to sustain yourself, to survive, really, you have to keep investing in that growth. And we have a 5-year plan. We have projections because we have projects in place, investments that is happening, capex that's going on. I have visibility for 5 years. I don't have visibility for 10 years, but I know that following this simple philosophy of one, we in whatever we earn, we invest it back in our business. We have a 20% dividend payout policy, and rest of it gets invested back in the company.
Okay.
So far, we took on some debt, but now we don't take on debt because our generation is good and we are not being very aggressive with the capex or with the expansion, because with the existing generation capex, we're able to achieve that 15% growth. So if you keeping all this in mind, every 4 or 5 years you double.
Yes.
With this compounding effect. So that's what happens really.
Yeah, you all have had a CAGR of, I think, 17% over the last 4 years. And like you said, with the expansion, we are all hopeful that you'll continue at that pace. It's amazing. Can we have Preeti Maruti?
Hi, Vinati. Having a wonderful session. So, could you tell us what is antioxidant exactly?
So antioxidants is, it's a family of products, and antioxidants is a very broad word. There are also like food antioxidants, and you may hear antioxidants in cosmetics, anything that stops any product from oxidizing. Correct? Product जैसे silver काला पड़ जाता है because of oxidation. So
Right.
anything you add is called an antioxidant.
All
But,
right.
but the antioxidants that we make are very specific. They are used in the polymer in the plastic industries. So जो वो polypropylene या polyethylene which Reliance makes or IOC makes or GAIL, they have to add in ppm some ingredients to that ताकि वो काला नहीं, it remains transparent, it doesn't get affected by light. So my products stop them from oxidizing, and hence they are called antioxidants. There are UV. There are some products that help them. That those are called light stabilizers that stop them from getting colored, maintain transparency. So that is what is the
Maintained.
antioxidant.
Right. Sustainability. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Preeti. Pooja next.
Yes. Hi, Vinati. How is Vinati Organics leveraging digital tools for efficiency?
See, digital tools is you cannot. There is no option. Sometimes it just happens because you have to, right? Whether first it was integrating into SAP, now it is doing your procurement online, or using Salesforce or HubSpot for sales, for your sales module. So digitization, it just happens. I think it happens organically as the company grows, and you cannot. It's not something that you have to actively, because the people will come to you themselves and tell you that, look, we need to go online on this. We need to be more tech savvy in this regard, and otherwise it'll fall apart because your customers
Yes.
are today. A lot of my customers want me to bid online for my product, and I have to. I don't have a choice, right? So
Thank you.
Further to this, Vinti, what about AI? How have y'all managed to leverage AI, if at all, and how do you see it affecting, your business?
see, AI will obviously affect every business
Yeah.
in some form or the other. I don't know how it has directly affected. I'm sure it has in many ways. I'm sure people are using Chat GPT to say format emails, to write emails, to write things. I don't use it personally because I am not as tech savvy as I should be. I have to admit that. But one is that. Second, it helps in even at the factory level, in preventive maintenance.
Right.
There are a lot of AI based tools that are coming up,
Mhm.
but it is still nascent in our industry. But it will come, and again, it will happen organically. I don't have to necessarily tell my people ki AI use karo.
Correct. Obviously, as the industry progresses, and like you said, as you grow.
Exactly.
Okay, great. Vaishali, please come in.
Hi, Vinti. It's a pleasure meeting you and listening to you. I would actually want to know about the research and development. These specialty chemicals definitely require even more research and development. And how are we, as a company or in the sector itself, placed in the research and development to manufacture products and give a tougher competition to China in that respect?
That is very important, and that is what has kept, sort of kept us apart from other chemical industries, is going for innovative products. I had mentioned that we work on projects with other labs, but we also have a good in-house R&D team, and a lot of our lab trials, a lot of new products, we work on we're constantly doing experiments in-house, and then scaling up from lab to pilot, and then finally from pilot to plant. Of course, you hire engineering companies to do that. So R&D is a big factor in this industry, and investing in R&D and having that mindset, that's the only way to stay relevant and keep growing.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Vaishali. Can we have Pooja Narang from Singapore?
Hi, Vinti. Pleasure to meet you. Honestly, before I ask you my question, I think I loved what you said on humility and simplicity and how it helps you make better decisions. It was definitely a learning for me. I'm going to go a little off track on my question here. I understand that you're a practitioner of yoga, and yoga is all about resilience and balance. How do you bring this, or use this in your place of work? Does it help you? Let's put it that way.
No, it definitely does. I yoga, I think, one, it keeps you calm. It's more for me also as a stress reliever. When you go, I do yoga in the evening, not in the morning after I go back home in the evening, and that helps me just forget about everything that was going on. Otherwise, my mind would be always cluttered with work related issues. So it helps you forget about that and clear up your mind. You learn to make balanced choices, make balance, not let anything affect you, right? Because if there's an important decision, somebody says, what should I do, I always say, sleep over it. So go back home, relax, think about something else. And it's not just yoga, it could be even reading a book or watch a TV show, anything that clears your mind. And then so tomorrow you're in a new space, you're in a new zone, and then you can look at the same thing from a different perspective. One is that, and of course, yoga helps. Generally, I think fitness is very important. If you want, in any work that you do, if I have to, today I have to travel for work, I have to travel for, my children's some sports, something. I, uh, you have to go to places, and being physically fit is also very important. So having a healthy diet, lifestyle, uh, flexible body, stiffness, and you don't want to age too fast if you want continuity in your career. So
absolutely,
any form of health, sports or yoga helps.
Thank you. That was wonderfully said. It's like hitting a refresh button, I think.
Garima, can we have you for your next question? You just send me a message.
Yeah, Vinti, government has been pushing net zero target for 2070. How will you describe Vinati Organics preparing for it?
Well, we definitely we have to follow it. We have some figures in mind. We haven't come out with our full GRI report on that. In that, we do have to give when do we expect to be net zero, but there is no choice. There is no option. And like investing in solar plants is a step in that direction. That does reduce our carbon emissions significantly, and in fact, it helps my customers also to buy from a supplier whose 50% of power is coming from renewable sources.
Correct.
So these are some ways that you offset your carbon emissions.
True. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Vinti.
And Vinti, so you mentioned about the magic molecule for treating affluence, maybe. So as of now, how do you all manage the wastage that you all generate?
Both in IBB and ATBS, one of our USPs has been uh, making value added products from the waste stream. And
Right. You
that's where
mentioned that
the
as
innovation came, the R&D came, all the things that we spoke about, and it all ties in together. My father used to always say that uh, clean chemistry is not expensive. In fact, that will bring your cost down. And this used to say 20 years back, 25 years back, and he was right. The less you let out in the environment, and that means the more you have to sell if you can make something out of it.
That's true.
And that is always what we have worked on.
Okay, that's really amazing to have, thought of this so many years back when it was not the buzzword. Let's have Arshia come in.
Yeah, agreed, Vinti. It's truly remarkable as to when you think about it, what was spoken 25 years ago. And okay, coming back to my question is, Vinti, you spoke about yoga. Could you share your perspective on achieving work-life balance, especially managing multiple responsibilities, and sometimes when you have, highs and lows in your business, how do you manage that kind of stress or ups and downs?
I think I've been very fortunate by having good family support. My husband runs his own business he runs a hedge fund, algorithmic trading. But we've always shared with our children the responsibilities equally. Like he also knows about their homework or what is due, or if a test is coming up, or if a sports match is happening. We always plan our travel schedules. If, like, I tell him in advance, 2 weeks, if I'm traveling that week, then he's home with the kids, or if he's traveling, then I'm home with the kids. So having a very understanding, and you have to start this from the beginning. And so discussing those boundaries or this from the beginning really helped. Secondly, I also have good support from both my parents, my in-laws. My parents actually live in the same building as I do. My in-laws also live in Mumbai. So if at all my husband and I both are busy, we have a lot of family support, and I've never been shy of asking for help. I've always told them, and they've all respected that, whether it's my mother-in-law, my mother, my father-in-law, my father. They've all respected my desire to work or my need, and never made me feel that my ambition is not as important as my husband's ambition.
That's actually amazing, Vinti, because I think, what we learn at home and what we hear, it really goes a long way in creating our own lives. And I think maybe a little late for us, but at least we can imbibe that with our children. Meghna, can you come in?
Yes. Vinati, we were curious to know who has been your greatest inspiration in your entrepreneurial journey and why? And also, what advice would you give to young entrepreneurs and professionals, to
I think the answer is very obvious. I must have
hear
referred
that?
to my father 10 times in this conversation itself. And it is very inspiring, right? Because he is a self-made man, and he really came from nothing, from very humble beginnings, humble background. And what he has built just purely out of hard work, passion is outstanding. Is really inspiring.
Wonderful. And your advice to the young entrepreneurs, who want to really start
Yeah.
their journey.
And I think it's it's along similar lines, that don't give up too soon. I think at least today's generation is very anxious, and if something is not working, in first 2 years or 3 years, they just want to move on to the next thing. And I have seen the entrepreneurs, and I've studied if you look at many different entrepreneurs, different businessmen, it's the ones that stick it out. If
Yeah.
you're able to stick it out over a period of time, and then your base is built, really you will start seeing the compounding effect and the growth and the benefits only after the first 5 to 7 years.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Rashmi, you can come
Yeah.
with your
Yeah.
next.
Viniti, when you spoke about yoga, I could totally resonate because it's been almost 20 years when Mr. Dhanuka, our mentor, who's here right now, introduced us to yoga. And he also has an institute in Calcutta. And he's an ardent believer of yoga for every single lifestyle cure or how you say that lifestyle should be like that. So, but my question is that when you said that first, it was ibuprofen, then ATPS, then IBB, then antioxidants. So, what do you have next in mind or in the pipeline of the making? Because you said after a point it plateaus down. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we're, we're setting up a new factory, which I didn't talk about. It's in a subsidiary called Viral Organics. There we will be making specialty products. For one is called MEHQ, which goes in the polymer industry.
Okay.
Second is Guaiacol, which again is used in pharma in a cough syrup. We will be making anisole, we will be making tertiary amyl alcohol, which is used in agrochemicals, as well as other products for the food industry. So we are making about a 500 crore capex in that. And so that is actually our latest stream of products and our newest investment.
Wow, that's amazing.
Thanks, Vinti. We'll take one more question. Shalini Singhania.
Hi, Vinti. This has been quite an insightful session. Thank you so much for it. Vinti, just my question, like being women, there's always so much pressure about everything that comes upon us. And like you correctly answered that with family support and everything, we can really go ahead and do whatever we wish to. Just wanted to know one more thing, like how we also have like a lot of spirituality connect with everything in our lives. So how has spirituality, like, has it helped you in any way in going forward and keeping you, like, how you said humility and how you spoke about a lot of other things which have given you the strength, like, simplicity, humility. So how far has that played a role in your success story, Vinti?
So I have to be very honest. My husband is more spiritual than I am. He reads more books and listens to podcasts and talks on spirituality. I call myself more practical or scientific, whatever. He's also an engineer, but I believe more in cleansing your mind and body. So for me, my free time should is focused on my health. Not just yoga, it could be even playing a sport, it could be going to the gym, it could be hiking, trekking, or like I said, doing other activities, hobbies, and that is what keeps me fresh. I don't read much on spirituality, but I turned 40 this year, and I do find myself every morning on the way to office listening to bhajans for half an hour, and this is something new in the
Wow.
last 1 year, 6 months. So I think it's also as you age, you lean more towards spirituality and in that direction, and I can see that happening with me.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much, Vinti.
Avina, would you like to come in next?
Yeah, Vinti, you have joined your family business. And I just wanted to know, do you think that next generation coming in any business brings a huge change in the business? What do you suggest for the young people right now?
I think we should not put too much pressure on them that you have joined the business and so please bring in change. I think let's not over pressure them because they are themselves, they have their own insecurities. They are young, they are inexperienced, men or women, and you're suddenly expected to be to lead and to make decisions. So let's not expect that from them. I think initially we should tell them, you are here to learn. Learn from others who have more experience from you, and change happens with time. Like I said, to stay relevant in any industry, in any segment, you will have to change. You will have to adapt yourself. And by default, it will be the younger guys or the newer generation who will be championing that change.
Yes.
So it just happens.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Shweta, Sachdev, can you come in?
You said you just turned 40. I think Its story has become even more inspiring now, for most of us here. I think we are way above that age, and it's truly inspiring. I had one question in mind, Vinati. With the current geopolitical uncertainties, how do you, at Vinati Organics, take care of the supply chain disruptions and your increased input costs? How do you work with this?
Yeah, that's a good question. And we've always had a formula-based pricing mechanism with our customers, which is very transparent also, but it helps every time the input, it could be monthly, it could be quarterly. So as my input prices change, my end product prices change. And we've never taken advantage of a situation of a short supply or of a cycle. And so even the customers support us during long cycles when there's a lot of product in the market. They respect that we have stuck to our commitment, and so they stick to theirs. So even the oil price volatility, lot of my raw materials come from refineries, and eventually the price depends on oil. So I'm able to hedge that cost this way. And the same goes for foreign exchange as well, since 60% of revenues come from dollars, but even my input cost is driven by dollar, by USD. So that provides a natural hedge in that sense.
Okay, yeah, that's helpful.
Great.
Thank you.
Vinti, you did mention that you're not reading a lot on spirituality, but we've had a couple of members ask us if there are any books you would like to suggest. It could be anything, if there are some books you could suggest for us to read.
Books, let me see what books I have. I'm more of a Netflix person.
Okay, maybe then a few, maybe something
I
which
watch
was
a lot
inspired.
of historical dramas.
Mhm.
Like I watched Napoleon on Apple TV, and I watched many Cleopatra and something of the Roman Empire on Netflix. Books, I think I don't read much.
So,
I read business, maybe business magazines or Chemical Weekly, but
okay,
yeah.
that's great. So maybe if Vinti was not a chemical
I
engineer
have
and
read some investing books I
right,
have read initially. Saurabh Mukherjee has 3, 4 of
yes,
those.
diamonds in the dust. Yeah,
Yeah, coffee can
yeah,
investing and a few other, because I found those interesting. They were about businesses, different businesses, and how they grew. So
right.
I could just relate, relate to that a little more.
So basically, if Vinti was not into finance and chemical, maybe chemical engineering, you would have maybe been a history buff, yeah? It sounds like.
No, history buff, yeah. Or I think I would have, my second choice of career would have been in finance, right?
Okay.
In investing, or
Yes,
because everyone from Penn does that.
correct.
Who
And
knows?
that's what we are learning here. So anyway, on that note, I'll like to call Garima Singhal to give you a short vote of thanks. Thank you so much, Vinti. It's been an amazing session.
It is indeed a privilege and a moment of honor for me to extend the vote of thanks today. First and foremost, I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to Ms. Vinti Saraf Mutreja for gracing us with her presence and inspiring us with her valuable insights. Ma'am, your journey of leading a global specialty chemical giant with such grace and determination has been nothing short of extraordinary. Your words today have not only enlightened us, but also encouraged us to aim higher and believe in the power of perseverance. A special thanks to our mentors, whose guidance and wisdom have been our lighthouse throughout this journey. You have consistently believed in our potential and have nurtured our growth with unwavering dedication. Lastly, but certainly not the least, my deepest appreciation goes out to my friends and peers. Your support, collaboration, and shared enthusiasm have made this journey enriching and enjoyable. Together, we have built a community that thrives on mutual respect and spirit of learning. Before concluding, I'm delighted to share that we are open for admissions for the next year. If you or someone you know is interested in joining our initiative, we would love to welcome you to the incredible journey of growth and empowerment. I am sharing the information link in the chat box for your reference. Once again, thank you, Ms. Mutreja, our mentors and friends, for making this event a memorable and impactful one. Thank you.